What's up, guys? My name's Alexis.
And I'm Abby.
And we are your hosts with Praises in the Pod. We are super excited to be talking about advice to our younger selves and just talking about things that we have picked up along the way. So we're going to start off in prayer and then we're going to jump right in. So here we go. Lord, thank you for all that you have done in our lives, all that you are doing. We just praise you and thank you for all of your many blessings. We just pray that you continue to lead us and guide us in all that we do and let our lives glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, girl. When we started talking about this, I'm like, man, I have 130 things.
50 million thoughts.
Yes. Of what I could tell my younger self. Would I have listened to myself?
No.
Probably not. Probably not. But I would love to hear.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what I had to say to my younger self. I mean, back then, I just remember my mom telling me things. And did we ever listen to that either? Nope.
But I will say there are things that was told to me
That
stuck.
It did stick. And now I'm like,
mhm.
that's what you meant.
So it's always important to put that out there, especially praying and hoping that somebody hears it and then it sticks for them.
Yeah.
So, because there are tons of things that really did not leave my mind that I still think of today.
I was thinking about that earlier. Like every time when I get to the end of a podcast, like with like a testimony and stuff like that, I always say, how do you want to end it? Do you have a piece of advice or whatever? And I just think, wow, like that could really impact someone's life when they hear that. Like, what's your bottom line? What would be advice that you give to someone? And when they always give it, I'm always thinking like someone right now really probably needed to hear that. Because there's so many times we got advice and we didn't know we needed it as bad as we did. But later on, it does, like, you realize, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There were people that were placed in my life, at a specific time, ordained, and told me that. And I know God sent them.
Yeah.
So it 100% sticks, and He uses others for that reason. So I know today, no matter what we talk about, whether we, listen to it as we wouldn't have listened to it. I mean, when we were younger or not, maybe somebody will take something from it. So
yeah. So when I first started thinking about it, I started writing down notes. So what's something that you start out? What's something that you were like, man, this is what I would tell my younger self?
For me, stop trying to control everything in my life. I wanted to control every outcome of every situation and plan out my life, have step by step where I want to be at this age, where, what I want to be doing when I graduate high school. And I never truly experienced or enjoyed life and looked at it like as a blessing from God. And I think in saying, stop trying to control everything, just give your life to Jesus.
Yeah.
Is what the main advice I would have told myself.
Main point, bottom line, give yourself to Jesus. Surrender your life. Like, man, I think about your
took
dad.
So much joy from me looking back.
Yes.
I did not truly enjoy, high school and truly enjoy just building relationships that I should have been focused on and just other things. But if Jesus would have been first in my life, it would be a whole different picture.
Joy. Just full of joy.
Just full of
That's
joy.
what I was thinking. Like, your dad was trying to lead us to Christ back then. And I'm like, if we would have surrendered back then, life would have been good. Yeah, but we kept trying to control every aspect.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't ready to give it up. I wasn't ready to do that. But, it got me to where I am today. So I am thankful. But at the same time, like, I just think of all the heartache and all the pain and the suffering and all the things that I endured because I wouldn't surrender. That was something. And I, kind of going along with that is be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And I've really heard that before.
So good.
I have heard that before. And I'm like, that's so cliche. It's so true.
So
like,
true.
Your calling on your life is specifically for you. Like, no one else has the same calling as you. Some may be a little similar, but like, even with ministries, right? Like, I was so bent on like helping my mom do her ministry and thinking that was my calling too. And I'm like, that's not my calling. Like, God specifically put me on the earth for something more specific. And now with Praises in the Pod, I'm like, I understand now. Like, this is more of my calling than helping. Now, helping her is one thing, but thinking that that's something that he's called me to specifically steward is something completely different.
Yeah, piggybacking off of what you just said, I was extremely critical of myself, my younger self. And now I look back and God didn't make us to be like anyone else. And I've referenced this verse before, but Psalm 139, it says, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made." And that goes for every single person on this earth. He knows us. He knows every hair on our head. And so for him to have created me, I think like that's so beautiful now to think about that and to see how I critiqued myself when I was younger. Now it's like, oh, I would love to tell myself, like, don't do that. You're perfect the way you are. He made you this way for a reason. Quit trying to be like everyone else. Quit trying to control the outcome of your life. And just focus on him and love how he made you.
Yeah.
You know, begin to love yourself, because I don't think you can truly love others and build those relationships until you truly love yourself in the way that he made you. Yep. And so I was extremely critical of everything about myself. Not even just critical with looks, you know, just comparing myself to others if I wasn't where they were, or you know, career-wise, I wasn't going to school for what they were going to school for, or graduating college, you know, with a certain degree, or going places. Or one thing about me is I was a homebody. You know, I wasn't one of those people that wanted to go off to college and leave home and be far away from home and travel.
You've made it one semester, girl.
I know. Like,
you were like, I'm done. I'm coming home.
And I didn't know at that point in time, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was like, I thought something was wrong with me because I was a homebody, and I
wanted to be here.
And I know, I just wanted to be here and be, you know, around my mom and my family and you guys. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, I love that about myself now because my family loves that about me. I'm at home with them, and there's nothing more important than spending time with my family. And so I think now that's something I love about myself. But I was so critical of that when I was younger. And there's so many things, that I would change that I wouldn't carry today. But the way I learned not to carry those things was giving that control up to Jesus and handing it over to him.
Like criticizing ourselves and being really critical and comparing. That's one of the things that I wrote, was comparing myself to others. Just like you, like I remember when you got your job that you have now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is like a career job, right? Like that is a dream. Like you got it so young. Like you've been there for how long now? Like 6, 7 years?
Yeah,
8. Yeah. Like we were young. We were 22, 21. And it's like you already had like such a good career job. And I remember just comparing myself to that. Like you were already further along, had a house, like had all this. And here I am coming to stay the night, basically shack up with you for months at a time. My dad's like, are you coming home? No, I'm living with Abby now. Like, but you know, comparing
ready
yourself,
to be adults.
Yes. And it's like, why rush that?
I know.
I truly tried to rush that. Like when me and Greg started dating, and I wanted a house so bad. I wanted a family, and I wanted to live in the same home and all that. And it was like I rushed that. And those were special moments and times to grow our relationship and not have to have the pressure of having a house and having all this stuff. Like enjoy where you're at.
Right.
Like stop thinking about the next chapter and the next step and all that. Like sit where you're at and let God move and open those doors. I've always heard comparison is the thief of joy. And like you will be so caught up in comparing yourself and how far along, like you don't even see the blessings. You don't see the joy. You don't see what God's doing in your own life because you're too busy looking at others.
Right.
So
that is so true. And the joy is taken because you're so focused on that next step. Okay. I'm, graduating college. I've got to get the job. Then I've got to get the house. I've got to get the car. I've got to have the husband. I've got to have the kids. And it's like this American lifestyle that are all these steps. And once we reach the next step, okay, great. You were happy for 2 minutes. And then next thing you know, you're chasing the next step. And you look back and like we're doing now, realizing why didn't I enjoy each step in between and finding the joy there? And that's just that control aspect. It was for me. which I'm not saying it was all bad because it didn't lead me, to the job I have now. But looking back, I did not enjoy those younger years of my life. Like you're saying, everything was so rushed, and I just wish that I wouldn't have done that. But
I had more of a visual right then. Like, I'm looking at you, like, basically jealous, right? Envious of what you have. You're looking at someone else.
Correct.
Like, we're just but we're not looking at what we have. Like, I literally had a visual.
Jesus.
No, we're not looking at any of those blessings. And it's just so crazy because I also thought about, picking people apart and like finding flaws in them. I think that was something that I did, like, because I was so discouraged about my own life and where I was in my own life, that I wanted to pick other people apart. Like, even though this person had this job, I don't even know. Like, I just wanted to pick them apart and criticize them to make myself feel better. And that's just, like, looking back, I'm like, that is so terrible. Like, we should all be raising people up, trying to develop other people, disciple other people, and build them instead of tearing them down. But so many times we get so jealous or envious of things, and we want to belittle them, maybe. I hate to think of myself back then, because that is how I always was.
I always viewed it like misery loves company. And I know that's not very biblical, but hopefully the Lord will turn this into something biblical. But in those moments, especially now, I try to give it to God and say, what is going on in my heart? Like, speak to me, Lord, because I don't want to portray or put that on anybody else. That's not what you called us to do as Christ followers and vessels of your word. So because we can still do that, when we're not where we want to be in life and carrying certain burdens, we can portray that on others or start looking at others before we look at ourselves. And so I did that a lot too.
Yeah.
When I was not happy with my life and kind of miserable in certain parts, it's easy to look outwardly at somebody else and kind of see what's going on with their life.
All of this just refers back to Jesus.
It does.
Like, none of this advice is anything if you don't got Jesus at the top.
That's right.
If you don't have him at the forefront, even if you do change these and you acknowledge them, it's still not gonna help if Jesus isn't in the top, at the top.
If he's not in control of your life completely.
Yes. Kind of going with that same aspect, celebrate others. I remember being in the stage where, like, people are getting married, people are having babies, like they're having all these festivities for themselves, and like, I'm in attendance, but like, I'm not going with a joyful heart, like almost a bitter heart. And so, like, my advice to them is truly celebrate them. You're gonna want to celebrate them, so then they would celebrate you. And in turn, like, we're all in this. We're all living for the very first time. We're all needing celebration and joy and kind words. Like, there's so many times that, like, I would see a cute shirt on somebody or something, like, as small as that, and like, I'm keeping that comment to myself. Like, I'm not telling them because that's gonna boost them up or something. I'm telling everybody, like, hey girl, your hair looks really good today. And it does, by the way.
Thank you.
But like, I love to throw out compliments now and make people feel like special in the day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I feel like I didn't really do that when I always held that stuff tight because I just was insecure with myself. That's a good way to say it.
Yes,
I was very
exactly.
insecure with myself, so I was insecure talking to people and complimenting people and all of this other stuff because I wasn't necessarily receiving stuff like that. So I was waiting on someone else to do that.
I just recently heard advice that was given to my current self, and I feel like I'm carrying it now and I use it, is somebody was saying when we're in that state, like if Dexter and I were trying to conceive a baby and somebody else got pregnant, it's hard to, really look at them. But I'm learning to now look at them and say, thank you, God, for the blessings in their life, in the timeline that you have for their life, because I know the same is going to be for mine in my time. or in, just in whatever aspect that is. But whatever happens with somebody's life and you feel that feeling of jealousy, or just the feeling of where you want to celebrate them and you really are happy for them, but it almost is discouraging to you in your life and where you're trying to be. Because again, there's that control. You're trying to make your own timeline. But when you relinquish that over to him and you just say, thank you, Lord, for the blessings in their life and for what you are doing in their life. Like, I'm so thankful that is their blessing. And I know we will have our blessing in our due time, or my blessing in my due time. And I don't want to rush that because your timing is perfect. And looking at it with that outlook has really helped me and changed my mind. And when I did that, the freedom I felt was like no other. And learning to do that when I see others and celebrating things in their life or things that I might have wanted, it just really humbles me and takes me back to, that's their timeline. Why do I want to control God's timeline in my life? Because then it wouldn't be perfect like he would have it. And so it's just something that I took advice recently, and man, it has changed my perspective and outlook on so much.
Thinking of all the things that I wanted so bad in a moment, and now I see the greater picture. Like, if you remember what God has done for you and why you've gotten to where you are today because of those things that we were praying so heavily for, like, it didn't work out, but now look, like, that also humbles me in the aspect of, like, I know he's up to something good. Like, if I haven't got something, because that's where my heart is just crying out to God wanting it, he's got something way bigger. Like, I always think about that teddy bear. I think we've said it on here before, like, where the girl's got the teddy bear behind her back and God's like, or he has one, God, give it to me. And she's like, no. And he's got this bigger one. Whatever. So that is what I think. Like, we always want something so bad, but we don't see the greater picture. And so,
learning to celebrate others and
be
their
kind to others. Be kind, because my younger self specifically, like, I always think about being so mean and bullying one person specifically in my early 20s. And it was like,
probably.
Well, no, that was friendly bullying. I'm just kidding. There's no friendly bullying. But anyway, like, I really think about my ex-boyfriend's girlfriend that he dated after me, right? And I was so mean to her. Like, and I have apologized to her so many times, but like, be kind. Like, there was no reason for me to seek out her in like such a negative light. Like, that was something that I really wrote down, is just like being kinder. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I just feel so bad for the way that I was towards like ex's new girlfriends or something. Like, just let it go.
I just really think back to the time that Jesus walked this earth and just that light that he carried. Like, I can't imagine the light that he carried with him, and the kindness almost that he portrayed. And it's like you were intimidated by him because he was the one walking this earth. Like, I can't imagine, but not intimidated in a way to go to him and cry out and say, like, Father, like, save me, help me, and know that you're going to get that, like, just love and kindness from him when you have that thought. But so I just want to be just more Christ-like with that, is people to be able to come up to me and know that, she is loving, she is kind. I can go to her, I can trust her with my words or discipleship, and go to her for advice is something, that's really important now.
Like, thinking about that, like, what if I would have been that light to her instead of trying to make her life miserable and calling her all these names or stuff, but being more Christ-like in that. Like, that could have just glorified God in like a whole like big picture for her, like,
what it would have brought
for
her life.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, I just want to be a light. I want to be kind to people. I want, like, if someone's having a terrible day, I want to be that person that they're like, man, she brightened my day just a little bit, Earlier, you actually said some stuff about control, and I went to lunch with a girl today, and we went all like into how we were kind of just controlling our lives and how we wanted all of this stuff. And so, like, one of the biggest things that I thought about was like, if God brings you to it, he will bring you through it. I've heard that for years, but what does that really mean, right? Like, when we get into a certain chapter or like God's calling us to something higher and we don't think maybe we're worthy of it or we're not equipped for it, he's brought us to that point, like that chapter of our life where he is going to equip us. He's going to give us everything we need, like financially, mentally, physically, like everything that we would possibly need for that chapter. He's going to equip us if we're in his will. Now, if you're just off doing what you want now, he ain't going to give you everything for that.
Yeah.
But like if he truly calls us to that stuff, we're not going to have to control it all. We're not going to have to try to figure out the logistics of every little thing. We're not going to have to worry about this and that and XYZ. We're going to just be obedient and surrender and be a steward of what he calls us to do. He's going to make everything else happen.
I think, that kind of would make me tell myself something I didn't even write down, but that would be quit trying to change everything about yourself all at once.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what? It's like you wanted to change everything about yourself in one weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to be funnier. I want to be more outgoing. I want to do my hair a different way. I want to, hang out with these friends. I want to, and you're just adding all of this stuff to your plate. Or maybe it's, I'm trying to change and do better. I don't want to go out this weekend. And then you put all this pressure on yourself to do so many different things. Or change so many different things about yourself in just one little sitting. And I think when we learn to really give our life to Christ is he starts like almost pruning us, pruning things away. And starting with the major things really in our life that need to be changed. But I was so hard on myself doing that, trying to change every little thing all at once. Like you're saying, the control thing and just trying to, get everything in line in like one day.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen. And then you just keep continuing to take that joy away from your life.
I think that falls into too, like, think of that if you're just coming to Christ, right? Like you're not going to be, no matter if you're 98 years old and you've been following Christ for 87 years, like you're never going to be completely pruned and perfect and all this stuff. Like you're just going to grow. He's going to continue to pick things out of your life and remove certain things. But we got to make sure that we're filling it up with what he has for us and what he wants for us instead of putting in something else.
That's one thing when I was younger and my dad would try to, say, come to church, give your life to Christ, he'll take care of the rest, is I would try that and I would try to change everything myself. Yes. And it would automatically send me in a spiral and say I failed and I can't do this. Why am I'm so imperfect. I can't figure this out. I failed again. I messed up. Now I got to get back on track, or I've gotten so off track
that I want to go back.
Now I just, why even get back on track? And it kept me away from that relationship with him for so long because of that reason. Yeah. And that is what I mean, I guess, going back when I was trying to change everything at once. It's like I couldn't figure out what I was trying to talk about, but it's that. It kept me away from that relationship with him because I was still trying to control my actions. And if I would have just focused on and just fell on my knees and said, God, you have my life completely. I give everything to you. And I just want to know you. I want to start reading your word. I just want to know you, who you are, why you said the things you said, why you've done the things you did, why you created the earth the way you created it. And that's all I want to continue to know and do every single day I wake up.
Then he's changing it.
Everything is changing. And I don't have to sit there and try to control it anymore and feel guilty and shame against myself every single day and carry that because I'm trying to change all of those things.
Yeah. Like truly, because that was one of the biggest things why I wouldn't surrender is because I kept trying to do it all on my own. And then I would fail at it and I'm like, well, it's just not made for me. Like that's just not for me, like whatever. And then I learned that when I started surrendering and just started seeking him, that other stuff started falling into line. Like that all started changing. I didn't have to wake up every day and like cry throughout the day because I wanted to go to Georgia Bob's so bad that night. Like, he took that desire away from me.
Yes.
Without me doing anything but seek him. Like, when I started changing the people that I was hanging around, started trying to get plugged into a community of, disciple builders and Christ followers and all of those, like, that's when you start seeing the changes. Like, nothing that I did.
And it's so awesome how it works out. It's like when I did finally get to that point in my life of just throwing my hands up and giving it all to him, there were some things that hadn't left yet. It takes time, and he does prune you. And, the more you get to know his word and that comes alive in your heart, then you see, oh, I don't like that about myself, or yeah, that's not right. Help me work on that, Lord. Help me work on that. And you just keep asking him and keep, asking for him to reveal those things to you. But it's a process, it's like that sanctification process that happens. And yeah, you're right. You didn't even have to think, what am I going to do? I don't want that desire to not go there anymore. It just went away because he kept filling you and filling you, and that just started leaving. And that's what happens.
Absolutely. One of the things that, like, I've seen, like, as a common denominator, like, advice kind of changes when you go into different seasons, right? And so, like, a different season that you have completely different than what I have is, like, motherhood. So, like, do you have anything that specifically stands out that you would want to give advice to your younger self? Or, like, are you still in that process of trying to figure out what that advice would be?
All of the above. No, I 100% have some advice that I would have given myself years ago, prior to becoming a mother. I carried the biggest fear about becoming a mom. It was almost one of my greatest fears, I would say, because I was so afraid to raise a child that might end up in a broken home, or raise a child that might go through some things that I went through as a kid, or, experience hardships in life that I didn't want them to experience, or see, the evil in this world. And it was a huge fear of mine I carried around. And this is a verse that has, like, stuck with me and that I've carried throughout motherhood. But it's Psalm 34:4, and it's, I sought the Lord and he answered me and he delivered me of my fears. And that is 100% what he did with my motherhood self, and what I would tell a mom who is afraid to become, or that is experiencing that journey or about to experience that journey now, is truly seek the Lord with that fear and telling him that fear that you carry, and he will take it over and carry it for you and with you. And that's what he's done. And there is nothing that brings me greater joy now than being a mother. It's going to make me cry. But I'm so thankful I did that with him and gave that to him, because of the joy that he has given me and the joy that he has brought to my family's life. And I know that that wouldn't happen without him being at the center. Going through motherhood is an insane journey. I mean, it's, so many different emotions, so much changes about your life. Life doesn't become about you anymore. It's 100% about your children, and wanting them to be raised, to know the Lord, and raised in a safe environment, and raised in a home that is loving and it has both parents. For me, that was something huge. And so I'm just so thankful that I didn't let that fear consume me, and I sought the Lord through it. And he's been with me on this journey. And so
yeah, I think one of the most beautiful things, like, when you say, like, you're so fearful, right? Like, at the beginning, like, am I going to do this right? Am I going to lead them right? Am I going to, like, all this
just
stuff.
Fearful of even being pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, in that process.
And it's like, it's so beautiful when you think about, like, God specifically gives you and chose your children just for you. Like, that is so beautiful to me when you really think about it. Like, just like I was talking about earlier, like, he equips you. Like, he knew you were going to be, your child's mom, like, all this stuff. And so, like, he's already prepared all of that. So all of that worrying and fear, like, the fear that you have, like, he's already planned it. Like, he chose them for you. Like, he put them in your belly or on this earth, maybe through another person, or adoption or anything like that. But, like, he put them on this earth for you. that's just so beautiful, like, to think, like, you chose me?
Right, right.
Me? That's so beautiful.
And I think another thing I'm learning, because it's a continuous learning process and seeking God, like everybody says there's no book for raising children. Well, I mean, there kind of is. I try to lean on the word and what he says, but there's something that sticks out to me, and it's raise a child in the way that they should go. And I heard this advice not long ago, but man, it hit me like a freight train, because there is so much that you want your kids to be like you or yourself or, your husband or like the things that you like. And when they're totally opposite of you, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But then I lean on that verse, and it really is in the way because see, he has a purpose for their life and he has a plan for their life. And they are going to have their own, lane or their own life. And so
Their own testimony.
And so I just pray, and I'm learning now. And I wish I would have told myself that a few years ago, that Sutton is going to have a day lane, her own lane, with God's purpose behind it. But just to kind of get out of that way.
Yeah.
And not try to control that so much for her, or maybe worry, what others might. And it's still given this younger advice self. It's like we carry it forever, not worrying about what others might think about her or think it portrays something, against our family. And just truly letting God have a hold of her life. And that is hard, because your children are everything to you, and to give them to God, it is a daily thing you have to, work on.
Are you going to stop trying to force her to ride horses?
I know, right? I don't know.
Because you literally are saying, I'm pushing it on her, like horses.
That's what I'm saying. You want them so bad to love the things that you love and do it with you and it be a part. But, she could just want to play the piano one day, and that's amazing and that's beautiful.
Yes.
Something that,
love for her to ride horses, but if we're doing piano, that's cool too. Tennis,
but
golf.
I know that it would bring us joy no matter what she's doing if God's in the forefront of it.
Absolutely.
And so at that point it's easy just to say, Lord, you have my child. And so in that aspect, I can't imagine, Mary and her viewpoint and what she did or went through. That's beautiful to me, a beautiful testimony on her side to really, Lord, that's your son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm going to do the same thing with her, that, Lord, this is your daughter.
With our own lives. Lord, here I am. Use me.
Yeah.
Here I am. Here's my life. Lord, here. So not just our kids, but ourselves. Like, be able to be an offering. Not just be willing to do certain things and open your eyes to certain things, but be 100% in. Like, use me. Let me be a vessel. Let me be obedient to what you want from me and what your plan is for my life. Instead of trying to control it.
One other little thing I heard was, more is caught than is taught. And so for me with Sutton, like you're saying, being that vessel and being obedient, is I want her to see that with us and not more or less me just teach it to her. I want her to catch it and pick it up and not me tell her to do, because it's not going to stick. And so if, we talked about this in life group, but if our family is going through a difficult time, I want her to see us praying our way through it and she doing it with us. I don't, want to just say, all right, well, we're going to pray about it. No, let's actively do it together as a family. And, just other things, waking up in the morning and she sees us doing our devotion every morning and she likes to sit there with us, me and Dexter. But just being more active, because I think that our children will catch on to those things more than telling her, no, we pray about this situation. No, we're going to pray about it right now and do it together. And so those are things that we're working on too.
That's something that Dana actually touched on in her episode priorities aren't optional. And it was like, she knew of her mom's faith. She knew that she was a praying woman. She knew all this, but she didn't physically see it. Like, her mom did it after she went to bed or in the morning before she got up and all this stuff. And she's like, one thing in my life that I will do is I want my kids to see me in the word. I want them to see me and their dad praying together and, you know, truly living it out instead of just behind closed doors, because kids do. They'll see you on the phone. They want to see your phone. They see you do your makeup. They're going to do it
faster than they pick up words.
Yeah. So being that actual physical of doing things, that's super important, especially with kids. So yeah, that's good. Do you got anything else that you would kind of like maybe have advice for, or you think you pretty much said everything for your younger self?
I know, man. I could keep going though. Really. I wish I think we touched on it a little bit earlier on, but just learn to love myself really and truly, and who I was and how God made me, and really dive deep into that. Because I think if you can do that early on, man, you just find your purpose that much faster in what He's called for your life, and the joy that it would have brought me. And I think that's something huge. Is I wish I would have and I'm still learning it today because I struggle with it, is learning to really love who I am, and how God made me and the way that He made me. There's no other Abby.
Yep.
And I've got to learn that and love that. And I might not be perfect, and I worry, you know, what are others going to think? And it's hard even doing this podcast. I know others that have done it. You leave here and you're like, ooh, what, you know, and you're worried. And
what are they going to think about me? Like,
but I don't care. God, here I am, Lord. Like, I'm Abby. I want to love myself. I want to love everything about me. You made me this way. Use me. Father, just anoint me. I don't want to be seen. I want what you did and how you created me to be seen.
Absolutely.
So
the last piece of advice maybe I would give to my younger self that I've recently kind of picked up in the last 2 weeks, I started reading this book, and it's called Fans First, and it's all about the Savannah bananas. And you'd think it's just some silly book, but it's really, really good. They have a little slogan that they go by, like, you know, entertain and all this stuff. Mine that we were talking about in a meeting is God first, people always. And I just thought that really spoke to me and the life that God has called me to as well. Like, keep Him first, but love others. Like, be kind to others, pour into others. Like, I know that He's called me into communications like this and being able to help others share their story and be able to try to disciple others and develop them and all this. So that's the biggest thing that I feel like would be my advice to my younger self, is love others, be kind to others, pour into others, like, allow others to be in your life. Like, drop your walls a little bit, girl. You know, like, I had really big walls like up, and I didn't let a whole lot of people in. And then like the ones that did, I would get hurt and stuff like that. So just love others no matter where they're at. Just love them.
Yeah, that's good. And that just, like, to conclude everything is, if you think about it, if you would have your younger self given up everything to Jesus then, and you went through those struggles of having your walls down and learning to love others, and you struggled with that for so many years, but you wouldn't have if you would have given it to Him all of those years. So that just sums up what we are saying is, give it to God now, all of it, and everything that whoever have struggled with when you were younger, we wouldn't have. And it's not to say that when you follow Christ, all struggles are going to go away.
But different struggles.
Correct. Yeah, different struggles. But the burden is light. His yoke is light. And life would have just looked a little bit different, way more joyful, and a heck of a lot better.
Yes, for sure. Let us save you a little heartache, a little pain. Go on and surrender. Go on and surrender. All right, guys. I think that is pretty awesome. Like, all of this advice, I mean, truly, this is just what we've had on our hearts. We hope that it helps you in any way, form, or fashion. We ultimately run to Jesus, run to God, give it to Him. All right, guys, stay tuned, stay blessed, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.